The vast emptiness of space stretched endlessly, dotted with countless stars and distant galaxies. In this cosmic expanse, the Galactic Empire reigned supreme. For millennia, they had conquered and ruled over thousands of alien races, believing themselves to be the most advanced beings in the universe. On a routine scouting mission, an Imperial ship ventured into an unexplored sector of space. The ship's captain, a tall, blue-skinned alien named Zork, watched the scanners with boredom. He expected to find nothing of interest, as usual. Suddenly, a loud beep from the control panel caught his attention. Zork's eyes widened as he saw a small blue-green planet appear on the screen. "Impossible," he muttered, his 3 hearts racing with excitement. The planet was teeming with life, but what shocked Zork most was the clear signs of civilization. Cities dotted the continents, and primitive satellites orbited the world. How had the Empire missed this? Zork ordered his crew to move closer, careful to stay hidden behind the planet's moon. They watched in fascination as radio waves and other signals poured from the planet. The ship's computers worked hard to translate the many languages they detected. "Humans," Zork said, testing the strange word on his tongue. "That's what they call themselves." For days, the Imperial ship observed Earth. They saw cars moving on roads, planes flying through the skies, and ships sailing across vast oceans. The crew marveled at the variety of cultures and the rapid pace of technological advancement. Zork wrote his report to the Empire with mixed feelings. On one hand, these humans seemed primitive compared to the Empire's technology. Their weapons were crude, and they hadn't even colonized their own solar system yet. But on the other hand, something about their quick progress and adaptability made Zork uneasy. The Empire's leaders received Zork's report with great interest. They had never encountered a species that had developed so quickly without outside influence. Some saw humans as a potential threat, while others viewed them as nothing more than ants to be crushed. After much debate, the Empire decided to attempt first contact. They chose Zork's ship for this important mission, believing that his experience observing the humans would be valuable. As the Imperial ship descended through Earth's atmosphere, chaos erupted on the planet below. Governments around the world scrambled to respond to the sudden appearance of an alien spacecraft. Military jets took to the skies, weapons at the ready. Zork watched the humans' reaction with amusement. Their primitive jets were no match for his ship's advanced technology. He decided to land in an open field, away from the largest cities to avoid causing panic. As the ship touched down, Zork prepared to meet the human leaders. He was confident that this would be a quick and easy first contact. After all, how could these primitive beings pose any challenge to the mighty Galactic Empire? But Zork had made a grave mistake. He had underestimated humanity's ingenuity and determination. As Zork and his crew stepped out of their ship, they were met not by cowering humans, but by a well-organized military force. Tanks surrounded the landing site, and soldiers with advanced-looking weapons stood ready. Before Zork could even begin his prepared speech, a group of human scientists rushed forward. To his shock, they began examining the ship's hull with strange devices. How had they developed technology to analyze alien material so quickly? In the blink of an eye, the situation spiraled out of Zork's control. A team of human hackers, working furiously since the ship's appearance, managed to breach its computer systems. Alarms blared as the Imperial crew lost control of their own vessel. Zork watched in disbelief as human soldiers swarmed into his ship. Their weapons, while not as advanced as Imperial technology, proved surprisingly effective. Within minutes, Zork and his crew were captured. As he was led away in restraints, Zork realized the terrible truth. The Empire had made a fatal error in judging humanity. These weren't the simple primitives they had expected. Humans were clever, adaptable, and far more dangerous than anyone had imagined. The first encounter between the Galactic Empire and humanity had ended in a shocking defeat for the aliens, and this was only the beginning. The war that would reshape the galaxy had just begun, and humanity was ready to fight. The capture of the alien scout ship sent shockwaves through human society. Governments around the world, once divided by old rivalries, now found a common purpose. The threat of an advanced alien empire looming over Earth united humanity like never before. In a secret facility deep underground, the brightest minds from every nation gathered. Their mission was clear: understand and replicate the alien technology before the Galactic Empire returned. Time was not on their side. Dr. Sarah Chen, a brilliant physicist, led the research team. She worked tirelessly, studying the ship's strange metals and advanced power systems. "This technology is centuries ahead of ours," she told her colleagues, her eyes glowing with excitement. "But we can learn it. We must learn it." Nearby, a team of computer experts huddled around screens filled with alien code. Among them was Raj Patel, a young programmer known for thinking outside the box. While others tried to decipher the code bit by bit, Raj saw patterns that others missed. "It's not just a language," he exclaimed one day. "It's a whole new way of thinking about computing." Months passed, and progress was swift. Humans, driven by the need to survive, pushed themselves to limits they never knew they had. Sleep became a luxury as scientists and engineers worked around the clock. The alien prisoner, Zork, watched all this with growing alarm. He had underestimated these humans once, and now he saw the true extent of their capabilities. When questioned, he refused to help, believing that humans could never fully grasp Imperial technology. But with each passing day, Zork's confidence wavered. 1 year after the alien ship's capture, humanity achieved its first breakthrough. In a test chamber reinforced with thick walls, Dr. Chen activated a prototype engine based on the alien design. The air hummed with energy, and for a brief moment, gravity itself seemed to bend. The test was a success. News of the achievement spread rapidly. People around the world celebrated in the streets. For the first time since the alien encounter, hope outweighed fear. Humanity was fighting back. But this was just the beginning. Armed with their new understanding of Imperial technology, human innovation exploded. Factories retooled to produce advanced materials. Computer systems evolved at an unprecedented rate, guided by the principles learned from alien code. In orbit, construction began on Earth's first true starship. Named Phoenix, it symbolized humanity's rise from the ashes of their former technological limitations. The ship grew piece by piece, a shining beacon of human determination visible from the planet's surface. As humanity's technology advanced, so did its military capabilities. The world's armies worked together, developing weapons that could stand against Imperial forces. Soldiers trained in simulations based on data from the captured ship, preparing for a war unlike any in human history. Zork, still a prisoner, couldn't believe his eyes. In just 2 years, humans had progressed centuries. Their cities now buzzed with hovercars. Energy shields shimmered around important buildings, and in the sky, more ships like Phoenix were taking shape. The alien's warnings to his captors grew more urgent. "You don't understand," he told Dr. Chen during an interrogation. "The Empire will not tolerate this. They will come with a force that will blacken your skies." But his words only strengthened humanity's resolve. Sarah looked at Zork, her eyes hard with determination. "Then we'll be ready for them," she said. "We're not some primitive race to be conquered. We are humanity, and we will fight." In cities across the globe, recruitment centers were flooded with volunteers. Young and old, people from all walks of life stepped forward to defend their world. They trained with new energy weapons, learned to operate advanced vehicles, and prepared for combat in zero gravity. As the 3rd year since first contact approached, Earth had transformed. Skyscrapers reached impossibly high, their tops hidden by personal shield generators. Orbiting defense platforms kept watch for any sign of an Imperial attack. Humanity had achieved in 3 years what had taken other races centuries. Their rapid ascension alarmed the few alien observers who managed to sneak past Earth's new defenses. The reports they sent back to the Empire were filled with disbelief and fear. The stage was set. Humanity stood ready, their planet bristling with defenses born from a fusion of human ingenuity and alien technology. They knew the Galactic Empire would return, this time with an invasion force. But now, Earth was ready to fight back. The war for humanity's survival was about to begin, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Galactic Empire's vast fleet appeared in Earth's solar system without warning. Thousands of warships, each larger than Earth's biggest cities, filled the space between Mars and Jupiter. Their arrival was like a dark cloud blotting out the stars. On the Imperial flagship, Grand Admiral Xalak stood tall, his 6 eyes narrowed as he studied the blue planet on the view screen. "So this is the troublesome Earth," he growled. "It's time to show these humans their place in the galaxy." Xalak had never lost a battle in his 300-year career. He saw this mission as nothing more than a simple pest control operation. "Begin the cleansing attack," he ordered, his voice cold and confident. On Earth, alarms blared in every city. The orbital defense platforms detected the Imperial fleet's arrival instantly. General Maria Rodriguez, commander of Earth's United Defense Forces, stood in the Global Command Center beneath the Rocky Mountains. "This is not a drill," she announced to her staff. "The enemy is here. Initiate Operation Thundershield." Across the planet, people rushed to underground shelters. Soldiers manned their stations, hands steady on controls of weapons they hoped would be enough. In orbit, Earth's fledgling fleet of starships, led by the Phoenix, moved into defensive positions. The first wave of Imperial ships entered Earth's orbit, energy weapons charging. They expected to face minimal resistance. Instead, they flew into a storm of laser fire from the defense platforms. Imperial ships, caught off guard, exploded in brilliant flashes. Grand Admiral Xalak frowned as he watched the battle unfold. These humans were putting up more of a fight than expected. "Impossible," he muttered. "How did they advance so quickly?" On Earth, General Rodriguez allowed herself a small smile. The first wave had been repelled, but she knew this was just the beginning. "Launch our fighters," she commanded. "Let's show them what humanity can do." Squadrons of Earth's new starfighters poured out of hidden bases. They were small, fast, and packed with weapons reverse-engineered from the captured Imperial scout ship. Led by Colonel Yuki Tanaka, the fighters darted between the massive Imperial warships, their unusual tactics confusing the alien pilots. In space, the Phoenix and its sister ships engaged the larger Imperial vessels. Captain John Beakey stood on the Phoenix's bridge, barking orders as his ship danced through enemy fire. "Concentrate fire on their engines," he shouted. "Use the gravity disruptors." The human ships fired strange weapons that warped space around the Imperial vessels, crushing them or tearing them apart. It was technology the Empire had never seen before, born from humanity's unique understanding of the stolen alien science. Back on the flagship, Grand Admiral Xalak was in shock. His perfectly planned attack was falling apart. "How is this possible?" he roared. "They were primitives just a few years ago." The battle raged for hours. Imperial ships, superior in number but unprepared for human ingenuity, fell one by one. The space around Earth became a graveyard of twisted metal and floating debris. On the ground, cheers erupted as news of the battle spread. Humanity was holding its own against the greatest power in the galaxy. In the command center, General Rodriguez allowed her troops a moment of celebration before refocusing them. "This isn't over," she reminded them. "Stay alert." As the first day of fighting drew to a close, Grand Admiral Xalak was forced to do something he had never done before. "Retreat. Pull our forces back," he ordered, his voice heavy with disbelief. "We need to regroup and rethink our strategy." The Imperial fleet withdrew to the outer solar system, leaving behind a trail of destroyed ships. On Earth, people emerged from shelters, looking up at the sky with a mixture of fear and pride. They had won the first battle, but everyone knew the war was far from over. In the command center, General Rodriguez met with world leaders via hologram. "We've bloodied their nose," she said, "but the Empire won't give up easily. We need to prepare for a longer fight." As night fell on Earth, the planet's defenders remained vigilant. In orbit, the Phoenix and other ships stood guard, their crews watchful for the Empire's return. Humanity had survived its first major battle against the Galactic Empire, shocking their powerful enemy. The message was clear: Earth would not go quietly. The galaxy was about to learn that humans were a force to be reckoned with, and this was only the beginning of their fight for survival and recognition among the stars. The victory over the Galactic Empire's first attack filled humanity with a new sense of confidence, but Earth's leaders knew they couldn't just sit and wait for the next assault. It was time to take the fight to the enemy. In a secret meeting room deep under the Atlantic Ocean, Admiral Sarah Chen, once a physicist and now the mastermind behind Earth's space fleet, addressed the United Earth Council. "We can't win this war by just defending," she said, her voice firm. "We need to strike back, show the Empire we're not trapped on our world." The plan was bold: build a fleet of advanced warships and take the fight to Imperial space. It was risky, but staying on Earth was even riskier. The Council voted, and Operation Starfall was born. Over the next few months, shipyards around the world and in orbit worked nonstop. New ships, faster and more powerful than anything Earth had built before, took shape. The flagship of this new fleet was the UES Humanity's Hope, a massive vessel that combined the best of human innovation and alien technology. Captain Miguel Ortiz stood on the bridge of Humanity's Hope, watching as his crew prepared for their first jump into hyperspace. "All systems check out, Captain," his second-in-command reported. Miguel nodded, his heart racing with a mix of excitement and fear. "Take us out," he ordered. In a flash of light, the Earth fleet vanished from the solar system. Their destination, the nearest Imperial outpost. The jump lasted only moments, but when the fleet reappeared, they were in a completely new star system. A small Imperial station orbited a rocky planet, its defenses unprepared for any attack. "They're not expecting us," Miguel said with a grim smile. "All ships, commence attack." The Earth fleet struck hard and fast. Imperial defenders scrambled to respond, but they were overwhelmed by the humans' surprise assault. Within hours, the station was under human control. News of the attack spread quickly through the Empire. Grand Admiral Xalax, still smarting from his defeat at Earth, couldn't believe what he was hearing. "Impossible," he roared. "How did they reach our territory so quickly?" But the humans weren't done. Using the captured station as a base, they launched more attacks on nearby Imperial worlds. Each strike was carefully planned, targeting military installations and freeing enslaved alien races. On a planet called Zarthak, home to a species of four-armed beings, the human fleet arrived just as Imperial forces were putting down a rebellion. Captain Ortiz led a ground assault, his troops using their advanced weapons to quickly overwhelm the Imperial soldiers. As the dust settled, a Zarthakian elder approached Miguel. You freed us," the alien said in broken English, learned from the ship's translators. "Why?" Miguel smiled. "Because it's the right thing to do," he replied, "and because we need allies in this fight." Word of the humans' actions spread across the galaxy. Many alien races, long oppressed by the Empire, saw Earth as a beacon of hope. Volunteers from dozens of worlds began to join the human fleet, bringing with them knowledge of Imperial tactics and technology. Back on Earth, factories worked around the clock to produce more ships and weapons. Every victory in space boosted morale and convinced more people to join the war effort. Humanity was no longer fighting just for survival, but for a free galaxy. The Empire, caught off guard by human tactics, struggled to respond. Their vast fleets, used to crushing resistance through sheer numbers, found themselves outmaneuvered by the smaller, more agile human ships. Imperial propaganda called the humans space rats, but in secret, many Imperial citizens began to admire Earth's bravery. 6 months into Operation Starfall, the human fleet had liberated 12 star systems and gathered a coalition of alien allies. In the imperial capital, Emperor Zoxabol raged at his military leaders. "How can one primitive species cause so much trouble?" he bellowed. "I want Earth crushed, no matter the cost." As news of the Emperor's fury reached the front lines, Captain Ortiz and his fellow commanders knew the real war was just beginning. They had bloodied the Empire's nose, but now the full might of imperial power would be turned against them. On the bridge of humanity's hope, Miguel looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, the largest fleet the Empire had ever assembled was preparing to move against Earth and its allies. The fate of not just humanity, but countless alien races hung in the balance. With a deep breath, Miguel gave the order. "All ships, prepare for battle. We're taking the fight to the heart of the Empire." The greatest conflict in galactic history was about to begin, with humanity leading the charge for freedom. The Galactic Empire, once thought unbeatable, was showing cracks. Humans and their alien allies had won battle after battle, freeing worlds and destroying imperial fleets. Now, for the first time in thousands of years, whispers of doubt spread through the Empire's vast territories. On the imperial capital world of Zox Prime, Emperor Zoxabol paced in his grand throne room. His advisors watched nervously as the six-armed ruler's color changed from deep purple to angry red. "How?" he roared. "How are these humans defeating our best generals?" The Emperor's fury was felt across the galaxy. He ordered harsher punishments for any world suspected of helping the humans, but this only made things worse. More and more alien races saw the Empire as cruel and Earth as a symbol of hope. In a secret meeting room on a distant space station, Imperial Admiral Kraz met with a group of alien rebels. His hand shook as he pushed a data chip across the table. "This contains the codes to bypass our main defense systems," he whispered. "Use it wisely." Kraz wasn't alone. All across the Empire, officials and soldiers were secretly helping the human-led alliance. Some did it because they believed in Earth's cause. Others just wanted to be on the winning side. Back on Earth, the United Earth Council received news of these defections with excitement. General Maria Rodriguez, now the head of all human and allied forces, saw an opportunity. "It's time to strike at the heart of the Empire," she announced to her staff. "We're going to take the fight to Zox Prime itself." The plan was dangerous. Earth would send most of its fleet, along with ships from their alien allies, in a massive attack on the imperial capital. If they failed, Earth would be left almost defenseless. As the Allied fleet prepared for the biggest battle yet, tension filled the air. On the flagship Humanity's Hope, Captain Miguel Ortiz gave a speech to his crew. "We're not just fighting for Earth anymore," he said, his voice strong. "We're fighting for every being in this galaxy who wants to be free." The journey to Zox Prime took weeks. The fleet used secret hyperspace routes provided by their Imperial defectors, avoiding enemy patrols. Finally, they arrived at the edge of the Zox system. "All ships, prepare for battle," Miguel ordered. The vast Allied fleet moved forward, weapons charged and shields up. At first, it seemed like the Empire was caught by surprise. The Allies easily broke through the outer defenses. But as they neared Zox Prime, they faced a terrible sight. The largest Imperial armada ever assembled was waiting for them. "It's a trap," shouted Miguel's second-in-command. The Empire had known they were coming. The space around Zox Prime erupted into the biggest battle the galaxy had ever seen. Thousands of ships from both sides clashed in a deadly dance. Lasers and missiles crisscrossed the void, destroying ships on both sides. On Zox Prime, Emperor Zoxabol watched the battle with glee. "Crush them all," he ordered his generals, but his joy was short-lived. Thanks to Admiral Kraz's codes, a small group of human ships slipped through the Imperial defenses. Led by ace pilot Yuki Tanaka, they headed straight for the Imperial Palace. As the main battle raged in space, Yuki and her team landed near the palace. They'd fought their way inside, facing tough resistance from Imperial guards. Their goal: capture Emperor Zoxable and end the war. In orbit, things looked bad for the Allies. Despite their bravery, they were outnumbered. "We can't hold out much longer," Miguel reported to General Rodriguez, who was coordinating the battle from Earth. Just when all seemed lost, hundreds of Imperial ships suddenly stopped firing. On their comm channels, a message repeated, "We surrender. We stand with Earth." The Imperial defectors had chosen their moment. Led by Admiral Kraz, they turned against their own fleet, tipping the balance of the battle. In the palace, Yuki and her team finally reached the throne room. They found Emperor Zoxable trying to escape. With a well-aimed shot, Yuki stunned the alien ruler. "It's over," she said, looking down at the unconscious Emperor. As news of the Emperor's capture spread, Imperial resistance crumbled. The battle for Zox Prime was over. The Allies had won, but at a great cost. Thousands of ships on both sides were destroyed. The galaxy held its breath, waiting to see what would happen next. The mighty Galactic Empire had fallen, and a new era was about to begin. The capture of Emperor Zoxable should have ended the war. But the Empire was vast, and not everyone was ready to give up. Grand Admiral Salax, still burning with shame from his earlier defeats, rallied the remaining Imperial forces. "The Emperor is weak," Salax declared to his loyal troops. "We will crush these human vermin and their alien pets once and for all." From his new base on the heavily fortified world of Kronax, Salax prepared for one last, desperate attack. He gathered every ship, every soldier still loyal to the old empire. His plan was simple but terrifying: destroy Earth, no matter the cost. On Earth, the United Earth Council debated their next move. Some wanted to sue for peace, hoping the war was truly over. Others, like General Rodriguez, knew better. "Salax won't stop until he's defeated," she warned. "We need to be ready." The decision was made. Earth and its allies would meet Salax's forces in open battle, away from populated worlds. The fate of the galaxy would be decided among the stars. As both sides prepared, tension filled every corner of the galaxy. On 1,000 worlds, people of all species looked to the skies, wondering if they would soon be part of the Empire again or truly free for the first time. The Allied fleet gathered near a dead star system, chosen for its strategic position. Captain Miguel Ortiz, now admiral of the entire human fleet, stood on the bridge of the Humanity's Hope. Beside him was Zora, a four-armed alien from one of the first worlds Earth had liberated. "Are you ready for this?" Miguel asked his alien friend. Zora nodded, her eyes filled with determination. Ready to end this war and start building a better galaxy. Suddenly, alarms blared across the fleet. The Imperial forces had arrived, and they were even larger than expected. Salax had thrown everything he had into this attack. "All ships, battle positions," Miguel ordered. The space around them filled with thousands of ships from both sides, forming intricate patterns as they maneuvered for position. The battle began with a blinding flash as both fleets opened fire simultaneously. Energy beams and missiles crisscrossed the void, turning the empty space into a deadly maze of explosions and debris. On his flagship, Salax watched with grim satisfaction. "Forward," he commanded. "Show no mercy." The fighting was intense. Ships on both sides exploded into fiery balls of metal and gas. Fighters darted between larger vessels, engaging in desperate dogfights. Every inch of space became a battleground. Despite being outnumbered, the Allies fought with incredible skill and bravery. Tactics developed by humans, combined with the unique abilities of their alien allies, kept them in the fight. But Salax's forces pressed on, driven by their admiral's fanatical hatred. Hours into the battle, things looked grim for the Allies. Their lines were starting to break under the relentless Imperial assault. On the Humanity's Hope, Miguel received desperate calls for help from all sides. "We can't hold them much longer, sir," his tactical officer reported. Miguel knew they needed something to turn the tide. Then he remembered a crazy idea some of his engineers had proposed. It was risky, maybe even suicidal, but they were out of options. "Prepare the gravity bomb," he ordered. The gravity bomb was an experimental weapon designed to create a temporary black hole. It could destroy a huge part of the Imperial fleet, but it might also take out many Allied ships. As the bomb was readied, Miguel opened a channel to all Allied ships. "This is Admiral Ortiz. All ships, fall back to Sector 7. I repeat, fall back to Sector 7 immediately." Confused but trusting their leader, the Allied fleet began to withdraw. The Imperials, sensing victory, pressed forward eagerly. "Now," Miguel shouted. The gravity bomb launched, flying straight into the heart of the Imperial formation. For a moment, nothing happened. Then space itself seemed to bend and twist. A small dark sphere appeared, rapidly growing in size. Imperial ships, caught unprepared, were pulled towards the artificial black hole. Hundreds of vessels, including Salax's flagship, were crushed in an instant. The black hole collapsed after a few minutes, leaving behind a vast emptiness where the Imperial fleet had been. The remaining Imperial ships, leaderless and in shock, began to surrender. As cheers erupted across the Allied fleet, Miguel let out a deep breath. The gamble had paid off. The war that had seemed unwinnable at the start was finally, truly over. But as the celebrations began, Miguel couldn't help but wonder, what would come next? The galaxy was forever changed, and humanity's place in it was no longer in question. The real work of building a new free galaxy was just beginning. The dust of the final battle had barely settled when the work of rebuilding began. The Galactic Empire, which had ruled for thousands of years, was no more. In its place, a new era of cooperation and freedom was dawning. On Earth, crowds filled the streets, celebrating their unlikely victory. But in the halls of power, leaders knew the hard work was just beginning. How do you govern a galaxy? A month after the battle, representatives from Earth and hundreds of alien worlds gathered on a neutral planet called Harmony. Their task: create a new system of government for the galaxy. Admiral Miguel Ortiz, now hailed as a hero across the stars, addressed the gathered delegates. "We didn't fight this war just to become the new empire," he said, his voice firm. "We fought for freedom, for the right of all beings to choose their own path." The debates were long and sometimes heated. Some wanted Earth to take charge, arguing that humans had proven themselves the most capable leaders. Others feared this would just create a new empire with a different name. In the end, a compromise was reached. The Galactic Federation was born, a union of free worlds where each planet would have a voice. Earth would play a key role, but not as rulers. Instead, they would share their technology and help other worlds rebuild. As the news spread, reactions varied across the galaxy. On many worlds, there were celebrations as big as those on Earth. Species that had been enslaved for generations were finally free to shape their own destinies. But not everyone was happy. On former Imperial strongholds, there was resistance. Some loyal to the old empire refused to accept the new order. The Federation faced the challenge of bringing peace without becoming oppressors themselves. 5 years passed. The galaxy was transforming. Trade routes opened between worlds that had never communicated before. Cultural exchanges led to amazing new art, music, and ideas. And thanks to humanity's innovative spirit, technology was advancing faster than ever. On a small, once overlooked planet called Xandar, a young alien named Zorax looked up at the stars with wonder. Thanks to the new Federation education program, he was learning things his parents never dreamed of. One day, Zorax told his friends, "I'm going to join the Federation fleet and explore the galaxy." His dream was shared by millions across countless worlds. The Federation fleet, once purely a military force, was now also the galaxy's greatest scientific and exploratory organization. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. Old rivalries sometimes flared up between species. Some planets, used to imperial rule, struggled with their new freedom. And in the far reaches of the galaxy, there were rumors of something stirring in the darkness beyond known space. On Earth, now a bustling center of galactic culture, the United Earth Council met to discuss these challenges. General Maria Rodriguez, her hair now gray but her spirit as strong as ever, addressed her colleagues. "We've come so far," she said, "but our work is far from over. We must remain vigilant, not just against outside threats, but against becoming the very thing we fought to overthrow." Her words rang true. The temptation to use their power to control others was always there. But the memory of their own fight for freedom kept humanity committed to their ideals. In orbit above Earth, the Humanity's Hope, now a museum ship, floated as a reminder of the war that changed everything. Tourists from 100 worlds lined up to see the famous vessel and learn about the conflict that reshaped the galaxy. As Miguel Ortiz, now retired, walked the ship's halls with his granddaughter, he marveled at how far it had come. "You know," he told the wide-eyed girl, "there was a time when we thought we were alone in the universe." She giggled. "That's silly, Grandpa. Everyone knows the galaxy is full of friends." Miguel smiled, realizing that to her generation, the idea of a divided galaxy was as foreign as aliens had once been to his. As they reached the observation deck, they looked out at the stars. Ships of all shapes and sizes zipped by, carrying beings from countless worlds. Each star now represented not a potential threat, but a new opportunity for discovery and friendship. The galaxy wasn't perfect. There were still challenges to face and mysteries to solve. But thanks to humanity's spirit and the unity of countless species, the future looked brighter than ever before. The age of the Empire was over. The age of exploration, cooperation, and unlimited potential had just begun.